Excuse you? Kitten? I need ice. What am I supposed to... You're right in the middle of the ice. Why, I can't get to it. The middle of the ice, right in front of the freezer. I can get out of the door. It takes long to get out of the door. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm great. Let's get ready to go outside and do some yard work. Why don't I just pick you up for a second? Oh, you don't want... All right, never mind. Well, problem solved, I guess. That was weird. She usually likes to be picked up. Not so much today. I don't think she's ever been that upset about being picked up. Look at the... Everything's a mess. I was officiating a wedding the other day. My best friend got married, and I officiated the wedding. And I went into panic mode because the pants I'd planned to wear got all stained up because of the dog. I was roughhousing with the dog, so it's kind of because of me, not just the dog. Anyways, had to last minute decide to wear different pants, which meant I had to wear different shoes, and then I couldn't find my shoes, so I started yanking all my shoes out of the closet, and they got piled up here, and here they still are. I haven't cleaned up yet. Need the drill. Got some pots that need holes in them. Oh, I was gonna sit and talk for a moment, but I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, so I have this marigold here that I just dropped into this pot. Nothing special. Well, actually it is. It's a very special pot. It has some sentimental value to it. But there's no container. Not what? That's what? The container doesn't have a hole. So this is just something I did very quickly this morning. I had some people over, and it was a quick thing. I just wanted something to put in the middle of the table here. So I just pulled the marigold out from its nursery pot and dropped it in here. It isn't potted in there yet. And you can... I don't think... It didn't like it. Don't think it liked it one bit. I didn't want to pot it in here because there's no hole in the bottom. That's not going to work. I don't want this to be a situation where I have to be very, very, very careful at how I water the plant. Although now I'm in a situation where the plant is thirsty and I'm going to have to remove it from the container. It's only been a few hours. I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal. Dramatic much? Jeez. Well, I have my diamond bit here. There it is. Right there. See it? Sparkly. Diamonds. I can get a hole cut in the bottom of this container. This container I have had for, I don't even know, a few years. And I never put anything in it because I just keep forgetting to put holes in the bottom. I use it as a cash pot. Cash po, if you actually wanted to say it correctly. I'm not. I don't care. And then I also have this. This is a candle holder. But I don't light a lot of candles around the house. Not that often because I have a parrot. I'm really supposed to be really careful with anything that's putting off any type of odors, right? And I was thinking, since I typically only use this with a battery-operated LED candle, this might be a bad idea. It's probably a really bad idea. I'm going to give it a shot, though. This was, I think, $12.99. Home Goods. I've had it for a long time. I'm going to attempt to very, very, very carefully put a hole down in the bottom, not the bottom, more the side, right in there, so that I can pull a USB cord through and just plug a candle into it and use this more like a lamp. But this is already, I don't know, it's already textured. It's on the outside. The whole thing isn't crackle glass, you know, it's a mercury glass faux finish, really. It's not really mercury glass, but that's the gist of it here. So, I don't know, it might not work out. The whole thing may shatter. I don't know. Oh, just stopped the camera. I didn't mean to. And then I have some fun plants that I want to get planted up in the front yard. I'm going to do some rose swapping. I have some roses planted out that just don't look right. And some begonias, beautiful begonias, that I would like to get potted up into some planters on the front porch too. There's coleus in them. It doesn't look right. But this is where I need to start because this thing needs water. Probably didn't even need to film this part. It was a weird way to have a 5-minute intro. I do this in videos all the time. It's probably not film worthy. So I just take the pot, you flip it upside down. I get a little trickle of water running through it, and then I just take the drill, and it's just a, you know, a gentle pressure. Well, actually, you know what? I should be better describing this. I start at an angle, so you can make a little like divot sort of spot for this to hang out in, and then I straighten it out, and I just sort of do this while the water's running through it to keep the dust moving out of it and to not wear out the bit so quickly, and then boom, you got a hole. I have drilled many, many, many pots, lots of fish tanks. I've drilled holes in a ton of fish tanks to put plumbing into them. Vases, I don't know. We'll see what happens with this. But really, we'll probably just pick up on the front porch, or maybe get this repotted and have a look at it and get it looking better. Hey, Turbs. Thanks for coming by to say hi. Gosh, you're so cute. Such a good boy. Not the smoothest hole I've ever cut in something, but I think it came out nice. I'm going to be able to run a cord in there now. Put something in there that I can just plug in. I'll probably put on a timer, so at night, just boom, the faux flicker will start appearing through the mercury glass. Awesome. I went ahead and I put the marigold back into the container, the plastic pot that it was already in, so that I could give it a really good drink, and I'm just going to leave it alone, because I really shouldn't have been doing all that messing and moving and everything while it was thirsty, but I had to drill out and I wanted to get this done, so I could have given this a small drink and then pulled it out, but I didn't, so here we are. Here we are, and everything's fine. There's the holes, some chipped paint, but pretty normal. Happens a lot. Usually the paint chips just a little bit when you're doing this. The best way to avoid that is to, one, you can tape your surfaces. That helps. I don't ever do that because I don't feel like it. It started to be like I never have the tape, but I think I do. If I wanted to, I could go find the tape. Or I could go buy some. I don't know. I just never tape these things anymore when I'm doing that. What happened there? Some weird stains on my hand. But that will help with the cracking sometimes. To put a piece of tape on each side and just go through very, very, very slowly and very gently. That's the thing with the glass, is to do it very, very slowly and to make sure that you have water running through it so that things don't get too hot and then you have glass explode all over the place. I don't know how many times I've drilled containers in this channel. I probably shouldn't have even bothered filming this, but hey, this is where we're starting things off. When I get excited about something, I want to film it. I was excited to get that done. All right, let's see here. No, I was thinking I was going to take these two back inside. That wouldn't make any sense. These two, take these inside, give them a nice wash because they're covered in that ceramic dust. I'll get that potted back in there when it's looking better. I guess we can go out to the front now and just quickly talk about what's going on out there. Did I mention? I don't think I did mention. It is an absolutely beautiful day. Like 75, 76. So nice to have a break from the heat, feeling like fall out there. I just realized by the time this video comes out, I'm pretty sure it'll be September, because the video that I need to do after this is going to be a garden tour, so works out doing some stuff in the front yard. Kind of. Front yard stuff is always brief. And actually, it's supposed to be even better outside tomorrow, so some of this, actually all of it, will probably wait until tomorrow. I think it'd be fun to actually work outside with the crisp air. Haven't done that in months. You better stay. You better stay. That was very good. The second I let him out the door, a bunch of people came walking up the street with a bunch of dogs on their leashes, and he's not on one. So that it was a little bit terrifying for a moment, but he listened. He sat down. He waited for everybody to get on their way, and then he got up. Very proud. I always keep a close eye on him when he's out here. Okay, do you see the problem? They don't look good here. Don't remember what kind they are. It's like flamingo something. I thought that it was a spreading carpeting type rose, and I was extremely wrong about that. These ended up, they get like 6 feet tall. We're constantly cutting them back. They are excellent roses. If you just want a good landscape rose and it's going to flower and flower and flower and be a little maintenance, these are awesome. This is flamingo or flamenco pink was the name on them. But that wasn't the idea for the spot with the Taylor junipers. I just wanted some low growing roses around them. And yeah, pardon the weeds. This all got redone about a year ago. Turbo, come over here. Good boy. Had this wall and everything put in, and the person I had refill it said they were using top quality topsoil, and I just don't think that that's true, because I have never struggled with weeds so much in my life. To a point where I did just sort of give up on it. Up until today, it's been like triple digits outside. So I haven't been doing anything out here. And I have all these beautiful roses ready to go into the ground in place of these great big flamingo roses. So when I get that done, I'll come in, I'll pull it and try and get this looking nicer. It's been so hot that I wasn't doing anything where I was going to be digging up roses and planting new ones. Not when I knew that we were going to have a cool off coming up. Why would I do that? Right? Doesn't make sense. Better for the plants to just wait, since I knew it was coming. If it were like June, then I would have said, well, forget about it. It's going to be a long time till it cools off outside. But no. So what I have here, these are the drift roses, and the type is sweet, or sweetness. That is very dirty. It's just sweet. And they have a really soft pink flower on them. It's not a bright, vibrant type of rose, nothing like that. These go 18 to 24 inches tall by 24 to, no, I think 18 to 30 inches wide. I'm going to double check that. Just kidding. No, I'm not. None of them have a tag on them. They stay low and they spread out. They're going to go wider than they will tall. Hence the drift. And I think that's going to look a lot better around these junipers. I'm a little worried about this juniper. The sprinkler head is right here. And for some reason, it's connected to the same zone that does the lawn. The lawn has needed a lot more water than the garden bed has. So this juniper, it's just been getting pounded by water. And I have a little key thing that I can use to turn it off. The problem is, well, I can't find it. I should probably just order another one. Okay, once that's done, I would like to fix these planters up. I have some gorgeous, very large begonias that I'd like to pop in place of some of these coleus that are out here. It's too much. I don't like this. Everything looks wild. Just absolutely wild. And sometimes I enjoy that. But I think it would look nice to, at least on one side of the planter, get the coleus removed. So I'm thinking probably the insides. I'm going to pull the coleus and try and get these nice, big, beautiful begonias in their place. Because I have to trap back on this one all the time because it interferes with the security system. So every time there's a breeze, I'd get a little notification that there's something happening on the front porch. And the begonia, it'll get big. We'll talk about it when it's time to do that, but it's not going to get big enough. And it has a more stiff growth to it, so I don't think it's going to flop around in front of the cameras all that much. I've been loving these planters, but it's just the coleus is too much. I think it looks wild and insane, and even though I'm going to be pulling that one out, I'm still going to come in and probably cut this one way back, if not all the way. I might just pull it all the way out because I can't handle it. There's too much going on here. Yeah, y'all been briefed, so we'll pick up in the morning and start digging some holes. That looks better, doesn't it? Hey, Turbo. Such a good boy. Look at that. So much better. So much happier. Just a nice, healthy-looking marigold. So last night, I turned off the camera and said we'll pick up in the morning, but I did that thing where you really want to get something done, so in spite of me saying we'll pick up tomorrow, I got like half of it done. Oops. Well, not half. A portion. I got some of the roses dug up. It is such a beautiful freaking morning. It's like 66, I think 67. There's a bite in the air and it feels nice. What's your problem? Here they are. The ones that have been dug. I got 3 of them lifted and then realized that I need to prep some potting or something for these. Can't just leave them exposed like this. And technically there are roses and it's cool out, so I could just cut them way back and actually could stick them someplace in the deep shade. I have very dark shade out here. Make sure they stay well watered, and I'd have a week or so to get them planted up. But I didn't think that'd be a great idea. I'm also low on potting soil though, so well, here they sit. Now, let's go have a look at the others if I can get that out. I'm standing in a bad spot. It's warm right now. Come on. There we go. Here it is. That's what I've gotten done. These aren't planted yet. They're just sitting in the holes, looking pretty. I think that this is going to look nice. The tone of the pink that these flowers have, I just think that that goes a lot better with the juniper. And it's all about height and structure, and it's going to provide a much better height and structure. Over here, this is where things have been more complicated. I totally forgot that there used to be a 20-foot tall blood good Japanese maple in this spot. I should have waited to pick up the camera. I'm a little winded. It's like literally just like a minute ago. Got off the elliptical. Just 30 minutes. Catch my breath. But, want to keep moving while still going. Still have that adrenaline rush. I don't know how I got these planted here. It seems like I got lucky, I'm guessing. I must have totally pulled them out from like all the soil around the roots and everything and just smash them in between roots. So I'm going to try and excavate them as best as I can and hopefully we'll get them out of here. This one. Other two, they weren't terrible. This one, been hacking away. Well, gently hacking away at this one for probably 15 minutes. Having to be really careful too, because there's sprinkler lines that run through here, and it seems like this one is wedged between 2 gigantic roots. I bet this one was also not fun to plant up. Look at that, isn't it a beautiful rose? It's a nice looking landscape rose, just too tall, right? The proportions, that doesn't work. It looks funny. The shorter ones are going to look a lot better, and be better for getting in here and weeding too. I don't like getting in weeding around these big ones. Those little guys, they'll spread out and help choke things out better. Hopefully. It's not guaranteed. Turbo, where'd you go? Turbo. Hello? Where'd Turbo go? Whew. Whew. That one was tricky. Took some time. Got out. It's always the last one, isn't it? That's better. I've also been going through and just surface scraping some of the weeds out of here, which really isn't that great of an idea, but they were bugging me. I've been using the, what's it called? It's not Dead Brew. I don't know, the Bonide spray, and combining that with hand pulling, but I just haven't been on top of it. With those organic weed control sprays, you have to be very consistent, or else, well, things look like this. So, I'm gonna have to be more consistent with all of that. Look at my holes. Look at that. Nice holes. I also dug up this U that's over here. This U has been looking rough ever since this wall got built up over here. It just didn't take to the transplant very well. Which is a shame, but I do have another one. It's very small, but that's okay. It'll catch up with the others and make things look a little bit better out here. Whew. I'm excited about this. I'm going to have to switch out to a different shovel to dig these holes out some more. These over here, they lifted out so beautifully. They just came out of the ground so smoothly. I had to go in a circle around them with that root slayer shovel. This shovel, it's, well, it's kind of hard to tell. The sides of it are serrated, so you can go through it and you just wiggle it like so. You just do this, boom, and you wiggle it, and that chops whatever's next to it. It has a fork at the tips. You can stab down real deep, and you wiggle it. You see the serrations right there. It helps loosen the roots, and it does a great job at getting things out of the ground, but it's not the best thing for actually digging a hole. The soil just tends to crumble back in around you, so I need to go grab the other shovel. I was thinking I was going to put some compost in the ground with these, but I really don't think I need to. The ground's looking pretty dang good. There's no issues with moisture retention. This does usually get mulched, so that does help build up the organics in their roses. I just don't think they need it, but I'm going to do Biotone Starter. That's going to help keep things nice and rich. I don't want to go piling compost around the roots of the junipers, my main thing, because this one's already just like straddling the line of having too much water and being dead. So I need to be really careful with that. And that's something else I thought about too, is that now that I've removed this larger rose right here that was sheltering it from this sprinkler head, this one right there, that could be an issue. I'm going to need to be more mindful about how long the sprinklers are running in this area, or maybe even just turn this head off altogether and pop a drip over here and just run drip to the garden bed on this side. There's not a ton of stuff over here, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. It's just, you know, it's more timers and tubing. I don't know, I just don't feel like it. Probably would be the right way to go. So that's something to think about. I don't know. I'm gonna go look and see if I have any compost, just because it's like instinct. I want to put some compost in the hole, but I really look at the soil. That's nice and dark. It's rich. There's a ton of worms and isopods that I've seen moving around down there, so I really don't think it needs it. And just adding in some of this, it's the same difference as adding in some compost. I'm adding organics back into the soil, so really not necessary to go and dump it. Because that's the other thing, the compost that I bought is that Land and Sea compost. That stuff's pricey, but I want to use it up because I have it, but I also don't want to waste it. I don't think I need it over here. Oh, that's enough. I've said that like 15 times. I'm going to grab a different shovel and then get these roses planted up. Wondering, how big of a space do I even have in here to dig? Luckily, the root masses on these drift roses, they aren't very big, so I don't think I even need to get that much soil out. I want to make sure that they're plants at the right depth. You know, roses, that planting depth is important. I can feel it. I can feel where those big roots are that I must have, I assume with this one when I planted it, I must have had to take all the soil out from around the roots and just plant it in there and have it straddle the great big roots that are down here. Would be my guess. Man, I could come in and try and cut the root out, but I just think that that's unnecessary for what I'm doing over here. I have the auger. Just really, well, one, that auger would be useless in that hole over there. No reason to use that. But it also, it's so messy. I don't want to use it this close to the house. It would just go everywhere. Soil everywhere. I've already made a mess as it is. I want to make it even bigger. This is going fairly smoothly, other than, you know, a couple of those roses project isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Look at this amazing soil over here. Look at that wonderful, wonderful high quality fill they brought me. Nope, you can see this is the new stuff. It's terrible. That nice dark stuff down there, that's the stuff that I've been amending for years. Luckily, this is a U, so that's what's going here. They don't care. They're tough, they're sturdy. They don't really care if the soil's a little bit crummy over here. As long as it drains well, that's all they care about. I'm going to go very, very, very heavy here with that starter. That way I can make sure it gets blended in so it's in contact with the roots. With the rest of these, I'm just going to do a light sprinkle. Just, you know, something like that. Okay, that's kind of heavy, but you get what I mean. There we go. With these things, the Espoma and Jobs, the organic fertilizers, I think of them more as something you're using to feed the soil, not necessarily the plant. It all ties together and works out well for the plant, you know? And it's things that have a beneficial relationship with the plant that maybe wouldn't thrive if the plant wasn't there. I don't know. That's the way I think of it. I know that smells good to you, not to me. Better stay out of that, Turbo. Okay. Let's have a look. See what's going on inside the pots here. I know, I hear it too. I heard the bark. Can you contain yourself? Is it going to be a problem? Just let me know. If this is too much, then we can take you to a different environment. Too much stimulation? Do you need to go inside, Turbo? Yeah, why don't you just come over here and hang out on the porch. That's now absolutely covered in mud. Stay there. Ah, there you go. Good boy. Stay there. Stay. Good boy. Just have a reset for a moment. Make sure he doesn't run off because he hears a dog barking. Let's see. Yeah, these feel like they're rooted in there nice and solid. Oh my gosh, I dug these holes way too big. That is completely unnecessary. I think the depth is good though, so that's good. Don't need to worry about that. Yeah, what was I thinking? Why did I dig these out so much? I don't think they're too deep, so that's really all that matters. Just the width is kind of extreme. That soil is bone dry. I've had the hose running on there for a minute. I mean, think about it like this whole area, bone dry. So any water I put in for this U is going to get wicked up by everything surrounding it. So that hose is going to have to sit there for a minute. I still need to cut all the dead stuff off of this and cut up that root ball. And this may end up having a nice enough looking structure on it that I could put into a container. Maybe it'll make for a nice bonsai. Kind of doubt it from what I'm seeing there, but maybe. This one's been like just on the what did you say? It's been dying for the last like 2 or 3 years, and this is your I said, screw it. Just leave it. The roses. There they are. It's not perfectly symmetrical, which does bother me, but there's a huge, huge root and a pipe where this rose would need to be in order to make this rose and that one even. And I figure since they're spreaders, hopefully they'll spread out and it won't even be noticeable, right? Hopefully. It does bother me though. I want to take this one and move it over. So I'm not going to do anything else with this area for a couple more days because I might be willing to relocate a pipe. I don't really want to do that, but just think symmetry would be nice here. It's not fully symmetrical as it is because it's the same situation with that rose where this needs to come over just a smidge in order to match those two. So I think it's one of those things where I might just have to live with it. In a couple years they'll fill out and it won't even matter. But this was phase 1. I had been thinking the original plan here was that really to go ahead and get the roses handled because that needed to be done. What I'd wanted to do was to do rose, 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 and in between each rose do a conical boxwood. So you'd have the 3 evergreens at a nice point with the Taylor juniper coming out of the middle and then those roses for some nice color. The roses being one that doesn't get too tall, I'm not all that worried about them pressing on the boxwoods. That's something to consider, right? Because that'll create dead zones. This juniper was starting to get a spot in it where you can sort of see where it's concave in there. It's where that rose was pushing on it. It may end up looking too busy or it might end up looking nice. The advantage to having just more things planted is one, well, you get to buy more plants and plant more things. That's always fun. You also shroud out the weeds, right? That's nature's mulch. It's just have plants shading the ground and then the weeds can't grow. Yeah, that's an option. This is looking better. It's going to be a work in progress. I do think that I need to get some mulch in here. Gonna stay on top of these weeds more. I'm gonna have to go and just hand pull and dig a whole bunch of these out. Then get some mulch down and that'll really make things look a lot better. Right now it's still looking pretty terrible. So much of stuff just creeped up in there. Double check your fill. If you're ever having somebody bring in soil, just really verify. They told me it was good stuff. It's awful. It's construction fill. It was lifted from a pile somewhere where construction had dumped things, so it's just absolutely full of weeds. I think I'm going to get rid of that heptacodium. It just looks bad. You know, heptacodium, it's one of the temple of blooms. They'll grow in a tree or a shrub. The one in the backyard, I did a pretty good job, I think, training that one into a tree. Is that super loud and obnoxious? Probably. This one doesn't want to do it. It really doesn't. So I think that's going to go. I've given it about 5 years. I've staked it. I've trimmed on it. I've done everything. And it's just like, nah, I want to be a shrub. And it looks messy. I think a triple trunk white birch would be really pretty right here. The ground is very soggy over here. So that's something I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for. And it's also where I'm going to leave things for right now. We'll pick up and handle those pots on the front porch at some point. Maybe the next clip after this. I have no idea. Probably not. This is what I need to handle next. Okay, I'm going to need pots. I think I'm just going to take those that were over there and some soil. My poor little rehab bamboo. I stuck it over here thinking that this new sprinkler head's going to hit it better. Time will tell. These things happen. How do I get past this guy? Okay. Alright. Grab a bag of soil. Going to need more than one. Probably could need a lot more than one. Although, I don't know, the root balls on these roses are fairly large. Some of them I didn't get as much up as others, but there's a decent amount. This is good. This is a big pot. But these are decent sized plants, so that makes sense. I need my gloves. I'm not doing this without my gloves on. The gloves are in there. I left the door down. What are they doing down here? How did that happen? That doesn't help with my spider and glove phobia. They're on the ground. Now, it's nice to have options. These are supposed to be really good for thorns. Guess we'll find out. I haven't really put them to the test. I have these right here, which are actually sold as rose gloves. I use them for handling the iguana. They're gloves. Not that exciting. These containers over here, one's basically 12 inches, one's about 14. I think it's like 11 point something, and this one's like 14 or 15 point something. I spray the insides of these down just with a clear gloss, to help combat them drying out too quickly. You know, clay pots, they dry out very, very fast, so that's been done with those. I was going to use these plants with the Mangaves, but I have some more of these containers, so I'll just get those sprayed down too. Might as well just do it all at once. You can see some of them are already starting to dry up and not look too hot. Doesn't help that the sun's beating down on some of them. And let's see, I have 3 that have already been sprayed, and then I have 4 more that haven't been sprayed, so I'm just going to get 3 of them potted up for now, and the rest I'm going to stick in the shade and wait till the paint dries on the other containers. Oh yeah, I'm glad I decided to pot some of these up. I was on the fence. I was thinking, okay, you know, we've had a good time with my roses. These were clearance roses. I think I got these for like, I think they were maybe $9 a pop. It was a great deal. But that, you know, it was just time to move on. But then I started, well, one, I noticed these have really nice hips on them. Look at the hips. Look at how big these rose hips are. That's beautiful. I'll appreciate that during the winter. That and the roses, they just make nice potted plants where I live. So, you know, you can't really go much further north than here and keep them in containers year round without needing to do some protection. And I still occasionally lose some when they're in a container during the winter time. And it largely depends on what type of rose you have. But something I really like about them, just about roses as a whole, is that they tend to flush out fairly early in the year. They will flower when it's cooler outside. So in the backyard this fall and this winter, when a lot of this stuff is just looking blech and it's done, I'll have these containerized roses that are probably still going to be doing a little bit of something. And I'm pretty excited about that. Oh, I found a tag, by the way, if you wanted to know. Flamingo Colorscape. That's what it is. It says 3 to 4 feet high, right? Yeah. That's not true. That's not true at all. These things, I think they would easily push well over 6 feet if you didn't keep them cut back, because I've just had to chop. They're very vigorous, very sturdy roses, that's for sure. I'm going to pull some of these violas out from down there. Add it. Now, I didn't get the best root ball on some of these. This one looks pretty decent. And unfortunately, since they are roses, I can't just dig through. They're all, tangled up together, essentially. So I just kind of have to go one at a time, get them into their containers and see if they're going to fit. I think that's a good fit for that pot. Okay, this one right here, something that has a nice big root ball on it. That's a pretty big root ball. Not huge. Pretty big. That's a nice one. One of these was falling apart. Can't remember which, but one of them, probably whichever one this came off of. This was, I'm sure, attached to a plant at one point. Let's see. That's a decent sized root ball. How's the plant itself look? Pissed off and upset. I think this one's going to have a better shot at recovery. So if that one's already looking really upset, then that means it might not make it, right? I did my best to get as much of these roots out as I could, but there's only so much you can do. Pull this guy out of here. That's in the way. Come on, get out of there. Just set that right there for now. That makes sense. Really, I'll get wondering later why there's a part of a rose shrub sitting on top of my vines over there. So far the gloves are working fairly well, not the tops or the sides. They're still poked through the tops and the sides, but working fairly well, keeping my hands from being full of thorns. Okay. Alright, I think what I need to do is actually pull these out so I can set them down and have a good look at them. Alright, that one's going to need a nice wide pot. This one right here. Oh, this one's not going to need a very big container. That's fine. Okay, wow, I don't have much root on any of these three. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, we'll figure it out. Make it work. Main thing with these transplants, especially these right here, these two specifically, they're going to need a big cutback, right, to get those roots up and going again. This one right here, it might be okay. I think that I can go ahead and just drop this one into this container. Right, that should be fine. This one had a decent amount of roots on it. No, not a ton. Maybe this one might be better for this pot, this round pot. I will come in and prune out all this dead stuff on these too. I'm trying to think. Some of these are going to have to wait a few more hours to get potted out because I have to spray the rest of the pots down to seal them up. Health-wise, this one looks the most upset. So I think that would be smart to get this one into a container faster. You know what I mean? Get some soil around those roots so I can give it a nice water and hopefully get it a chance to recover. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to backfill these. I'm going to tuck them into a spot where they'll get a little bit of morning sun, afternoon shade, because these need to recover. And I'm probably going to give it a day before I decide whether or not I need to chop them. I should chop them, but I just want to wait and see what they do first. Right, this one right here will probably need a chop. The rest I think just need a good cleaning up and to stay consistently moist. They should recover just fine. It's going to take them a while, but I think they'll be okay. Anyway, I think that should do it. This is all I'm using. It's just Rust-Oleum, clear gloss, seals, protects, revitalizes, fast drying, non-yellowing, UV resistant. That's it. I do it on the inside and the outside. I know one of the reasons that we like clay and terracotta is for the breathability, but the winters here are just so freaking dry that I need just an extra layer of protection. So it just closes up the pores in there so they won't dry out as fast. I usually do 2 coats also on the inside, one on the outside. I don't always do a coat on the outside. It just depends. The things I kind of like the way they look without the coat on the outside of the container. But you can see these, it's dried down and it doesn't leave too much of a gloss on them. So here's the roses that have been potted up thus far. Gave them all very, very, very heavy drinks, and I'm going to give them till morning and see how they look. I would imagine probably won't look much different than this because they had their roots hacked at, but you know, if they do spring back, great. If not, then we'll just cut them back. No big deal. Really, if you're doing this, I would advise you to cut them back. It's the best way to just do like a 50% chop, and that's going to encourage the oxygen and everything to move back down towards the roots. That's the hormone, and spread out some nice roots. It is the way we should do things, but I don't always do things the way that we should. But I thought I should make the disclaimer of what you probably should be doing. Not probably, what you definitely should be doing with the transplant. I also just want to reiterate, it's not hot right now. I would never be doing this while it's hot outside. Tomorrow the high is 71, and then we're going to be going back up to the low 80s and the higher 70s for a week. And then I imagine September, which I think this will be when this video is out, will probably be pretty warm, because it usually is up until the last week or so. So, just figured this is a good time for this. Give them a few weeks to have a more cool time to recuperate and get into the groove of things, having had their roots torn at. The others, I set them down where the irrigation is going to hit them. I'll pot them up into these containers, but I don't have high hopes for them in the containers. Just have to wait and see. But I do want to make sure that these have a good amount of time to dry before I put any soil in them. So I don't know, maybe that's something I'll tackle tonight, maybe even in the morning. Okay, just real quick, if you ever want to know what it's like dating a chef and you ask them to pick up some cling wrap, 2,000 feet. I know, it has nothing to do with anything, but thought I'd throw it on in here. Just finished the roses. The other roses, they've had a good soak. Gonna wait until morning to decide what to do with them. I think I might run to the hardware store, to the Home Depot or something real quick, and grab, like, I don't know, 20, 30 bags of mulch, so that in the morning we can just finish off the front yard and tidy it up and make it look better. And also, that is going to last me the rest of my life. I try to not even use very much cling wrap. I have, like, resealable, like, silicone type baggy things, and lids for things. So I just needed a little bit of cling wrap, because for some reason I have a lot of bowls and all the lids are gone. So it's like, well, I'll just grab some cling wrap until I go out and get some new containers. Well, that's an option too. 2,000 feet of Darnell wrap. Hi, baby. Hi. I know. I'm talking. Who am I talking to? I must be talking to you. What you doing? Why is your head all wet? What are you doing, Turbo? Oh, you gotta stop and do stretches? Oh, that seems like the most dangerous spot to do your stretches. Hey, baby. Turbo's head is all wet because I just took a shower, and Turbo thought it'd be fun to stick his head in the shower over and over and over again while I was in the shower. And I got out of the shower and realized, hey, that was dumb. Why did I just take a shower? I'm about to go mulch and do all kinds of dirty stuff. Oh, good morning, ladies. How you doing? Yeah? Hey, Pumpkin. How you doing? It's quiet pumpkin time. Turns out this stuff does come in handy, but this is a bit much. Like I said, usually use reusable things. That's going to last a lifetime. Possibly multiples. Everybody's here. Turbo. Okay, I'm up. It is 52 degrees outside, which is nuts. Nuts for August. Not used to that. Kind of looking forward to it, though. Going outside and feeling that bite in the air. Oh, I think that's going to be nice. And, yeah, I'm gonna grab the hula hoe and start cleaning some stuff up in the front yard. Oh, the roses. We need to check out the roses first, see how they did. Hey, not too bad. There's definitely still some wilt at the very ends, but these look a lot better than they did yesterday. They had a heavy drink, pretty sure I already said that. Now continue to make sure that soil's nice and moist. I may go ahead and give them another water here, just because the air is fairly dry. I'm kind of shocked. The others. The other ones are going to be the ones that are going to be more surprising to me, if they're looking okay. Because remember those last three, they didn't have a lot of rootage left on them. I did drop them into some containers. And, oh. Okay, well, hey. These look fine. Fine considering what they've been through, I mean. These things also, they can take several days as far as damage and stress goes on the plant. It could be up to sometimes like 6 weeks even, which I know is way more than several days. But with roses, you can usually tell fairly quickly. And yeah, I'm not really all that concerned about them. I think they'll be fine. But if they get to a point where after about a week they're always wilted, then I'll just go ahead and give them a cut. Roses transplant very easily, which is so nice. Really appreciate that about them. Look at the Pharaoh's Dreams. These are looking so good. Oh, such a beautiful plant. The way that water beads off the leaves. Variegation. It's the pink with the white on the outside. It like, I don't know how you just, that's how I describe it. It's electrified, fluoresces almost. Yeah, it's an extra amount of highlight by having that pink vein on the inside that makes the variegation just feel even more intense. I love these. Those are so beautiful. You're in zone 6. I'd say everybody give them a try. If you're looking for a cold hardy option, try those things out. Really, they have a big impact. Okay, I'm going to give these a quick drink, grab the hula hoe, and start doing stuff in the front. You know, I love a good hoe. This thing, it makes weeding so much easier. I don't know why I haven't been out here with this before. It's one of those tools that just has been hanging out in my garage, rarely ever getting used. You just smack it down and pull. Sometimes you get to a crabgrass. They can be more stubborn. You gotta scrape them harder. You see that? Look at that. Look at that. So for those of you who, maybe bending down and stuff might be more difficult, grab yourself a hula hoe. Boom. See that? It works better when you're using 2 hands, trust me. See, that's how it works with 1 hand. That should just go to show you. These things are pretty awesome. Smack it down and pull it. Smack it down and pull it. Again, works better with 2 hands. Doesn't that look better? There's still some spots where I'm going to have to keep going at it for the grasses and things where their roots are a lot deeper, right? But it's a vast improvement from what it was. Get yourself a hula hoe. This is just a really cheap one from Amazon. They make some really nice ones that have a better blade on them. I don't use it that often. I've never seen a reason to spend too much money on something that I don't use all that often. The mediocre one's working just fine. Not mediocre. Lower priced. More affordable? Is that the word? You know what I'm saying. Have a pile of stuff right there that takes the yard waste. And, well, I'm just going to throw some mulch on here. Let's just do it as a before and after. Okay, so here's everything before. And, I don't know, there will be an after. Hopefully an after that looks a lot nicer and more tidy. Look, mulch. Oh, it looks so much better. Love it. I did a very, very heavy layer here. Like, you may be able to tell. Maybe not. I didn't spend much time on this, but the bricks were a full brick and then maybe a quarter of a brick above the soil line, and now it's almost level. So I'd say there's a good 6 inches, maybe 8 inches in some spot. I went thick. That's because this is a purposeful mulch, all right? So sometimes mulching is for aesthetics. In fact, commonly, especially, suburban settings, commercial settings, you have, shrubs spaced out nicely with a layer of mulch around them. That's really just for aesthetics. Right? I think I talked about this already. I think the best way to mulch is to just have a lot of plants so weeds can't come up. But sometimes you gotta go thick to keep the weeds down with the mulch, because this isn't a garden bed that I have full of plants that'll help squeeze out the weeds, right? If you want to do that, you gotta go 6 to 8 inches. And this isn't going to mean that I don't have weeds anymore. Weeds, well, some of them are still gonna grow up through this. So this is just really slowing things down so I can get back on track. So whatever is left down under here that is going to come up, it's going to take it more time, and weeds will grow right on top of this. This is a triple blended black forest mulch. Well, supposedly triple blended. I don't know about that. That's what it was labeled. And that's what I like to use because it breaks down nicely. I like the way it looks. It's nice and dark, and it's good for enriching the soil. Like I said, still gonna have to stay way on top of the weeds because they'll just grow right on top of this, right? And anything that's left underneath all this that wants to come up is still going to come up. So this is just buying me time, really. And it looks nice, and it's good for the soil. You can come all the way down here. I went really thick right here because there was a lot going on here, as well as down here. You can see I pretty much filled that up almost all the way, and that was pretty low there. This one spot alone has 7 bags in it. 7. A lot of mulch in there. So much that, so much to the point where I actually considered lifting up that U and planting it higher. But I don't know, I don't think that's necessary, because the triple blended mulch does break down fairly quickly. That soil down there where that U was, I came back over here to talk about it because I feel weird like standing basically my neighbor's driveway talking about that spot. That's where most of that fill was. This garden bed was pretty much already here. Well, it was already here. It just got raised up a smidge, but not very much. It's really more when you get about, halfway down that a lot of fill was put in. So that's the area where the majority of composting needs to happen to help enrich the soil. I probably should have gone ahead and put down some compost underneath the mulch, but It's fine. This mulch is going to break down into compost in no time anyways, right? I still need to come in and trim out, edge out both sides of the walkway here. And I need to come in with a scrub brush and some algicide because there's just some spots that are looking pretty gross. In fact, I'm going to get the power washer out at some point. And I have a floor buffer, or Bay has a floor buffer with an attachment that you can use on concrete and asphalt. And I think that it would be good to come in here and just give this a good scrub and then power wash it the whole path. Get it looking good. I would like to replace all this with brick, but you know, money and why. Other than it would look nice, I think that's just not necessary because I don't really spend a lot of time out here. So my front yard is typically devoted to things that just are low maintenance, low fuss, and maintain a nice growth habit to them. Tailor junipers. Easy. Don't need to do much with them. The landscape type roses. Pretty simple. At least where I live, those thrived over here, so I'm hoping it will be the same with the drift roses. And I do remember when I planted those flamingo roses, those what was it, bloomscape, color blooms, whatever it was, that was partially with the hope of just testing them out and see how they would do over here. Like, I knew that 3 to 4 feet would be too big. What I didn't know was that they would actually get like way taller than that. I'd have to prune on them constantly. This is going to be much nicer. It does still bug me that this side isn't quite even with that side, but these do spread up to 3 feet. So I think just a little under 3 feet. I think it'll all blend out and look nice. I decided I'm not going to move forward with the boxwoods like I had talked about. I just don't think there's room. But it's something to think about, maybe. But these tailors are going to need some room to proof out and everything. Just need to be patient and give this some time. I think they'll look nice. I want some boxwoods in the front yard. I love these new gen boxwoods. This is the Independence right here. And the foliage is so glossy. It looks fake. I want that in my yard. And I'm a sucker for evergreens too, so it would be nice. I thought about maybe doing the Freedoms, right? The Independence, no, the Freedoms is what I would want. And just doing a little mini hedge, like from right here and over, and then down, right here, over and down, just letting it come up like 2 feet max. That might look kind of good. Might also just be way too busy. I don't know, it's something to think about. Man, that mulching stirred something up in me. I'm sniffling like crazy over here. Must have been a lot of dust and mold inside of those bags. I think going in with a border would be nice too. I used to fill this entire area, the entire front yard, with impatiens. Hundreds, if not thousands of impatiens every year, and they would go underneath the Japanese maple and there'd be caladiums. It was so pretty. But then deer happened and they started eating them. I see my neighbors have begonias and they seem to be doing okay. I don't know. It might be something I give a shot in the future. I could come in with some mums for some fall color, but I don't like the mums enough to do all that. Even something simple, maybe a loriope border. I know that it's very overdone, but there's a reason it's overdone, right? Is that it can look nice and tidy and be low maintenance, and it would really help sharpen out this line in here, which looks like I need to come in here with the edger and tighten that up. This is as far as I can get with the mulch. So from here and down, it's about 30 bags. I had to buy in bags. I didn't have notice to call the composting place and bring out mulch. And sometimes that's just the way I prefer to do it, and it actually comes out cheaper. The places that'll deliver mulch out here, it's not that cheap. I know it's cheaper for some of you who comment on the videos, but here it really, you save like maybe $40. But in addition to that savings, I then have to have a pile of mulch set in my driveway. That's the only place to put it. You can't load stuff in the street here. And then I have to shovel every single bit of it into the barrow, into the griller cart where it's in a bag. It's still inconvenient because you got to go buy it, load it onto the cart, push the car, put it in the car, take it out of the car, get onto another cart and push it out and everything. But now, with a job like this, it's not that big, so it didn't make sense to have a bunch of mulch delivered. So from here and down, probably need another 15 bags, and this berm over here, I need a whole bunch for that area too. But I'm just glad to have this done. Oh, it looks so much better, doesn't it? So much better. I didn't go as thick with the mulch on this side as I did on that side, because the weeds were way worse over there. But in areas where I'd noticed that I just keep having problems with the grass creeping up, particularly the edge of everything, I tried to berm it up as high as I could, and then coming in with the edger and sharpening out that line, I think would make a big difference. Or what about is it neat ball? Yes, neat ball boxwood. They stay really short and they just look like little flat pancake gumdrops to line the bed up here. So they have all the yews in the background. Speaking of low maintenance plants, the yews are fantastic. Give them a hedge trim, once a year, maybe twice a year sometimes. And that's it. They're good over there in the sun. They're good down here where it's an awful lot of shade. Things are still looking nice and even. It's hard to find plants where you have that balance, because this side of the house gets a lot of sun, this side of the house does not. It's very similar to the backyard, where part of this backyard gets some sun and the other parts, like, it's dark shade. Yews and boxwoods, they're the way to go for that. So, you know, maybe I could do that. Do a row of those flat little pancakey. They look more like blob boxwoods in the front to edge the garden out. And then I wouldn't have to come in and actually hand edge it quite as often, which would be nice. I have toyed with the idea of just doing away with this bit of grass right here and just bringing the entire garden bed out to the path, but I don't know. I kind of, when this is looking better right now, you know, we're just coming out of a heat spell when things were incredibly hot, so the grass isn't looking its best. But when the grass is looking really nice, it looks good having this swoop that comes in here. I enjoy it, and I'm not a big fan of lawns. I'm really not. I prefer to just have garden everywhere, but yeah, like I said, sometimes I like it, so I'm just going to leave it. All right, well, feels good to have that done. I think I mentioned that I do have some begonias I want to pop out here into these containers, so I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, I just realized something that might put a pin in this project. Ideally it won't. I've already put a pin in enough other things out here, but I don't know if there's going to be room in here to squeeze this in. These begonias are beautiful for starters, right? Look at that. Wow. Gorgeous. These are the Sterling from the Lunar Light series from Southern Winters. Southern Winters. No, I'm so sorry. Southern Living. I remember this side of the planter being pretty... Oh, I missed a spot. Okay, all right, well, that's good to know. Carrick doesn't care. It's a nice sturdy plant. I don't think I'm going to have space back here to squeeze this in. The idea was that I was going to put these begonias, and I've already talked about it, right? One right there, and then one right in there. I don't know. The only way to find out is to get in here and pull this out, and what if I pull it out and I'm not going to be able to squeeze the begonia in? Then all I've done is ripped the coleus out from the container, which, I mean, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot of room in there. Not much room at all. And, of course, since it's coleus, it's not going to come out without giving me some trouble. Man, that stuff roots in there quickly. Well, I do like it better without the coleus, though. If I were to do these over again, I would do maybe just a coleus on one side, and I would use a different caladium. This caladium is very bright, although it's going nicely with this hypomia, right? The red, it's so much red. This is a different tone of red. It's I don't know, it's darker, it's more of a wine, there's more purple in it, whereas this is just like red. Still beautiful. I would just like something more subtle over here. I'm not thinking, gosh, there's no way. Wow, look at that. That's so bad. I can't believe I didn't fill that in all the way. It's taking root down low, so that's good. That's not going to fit in here. No way. No way. Begonias, you know, they're so snappy. The way they just break apart to pieces. Thinking, maybe I can let me just set it up in here. Just 'cause I want to see what it looks like. Oh, it does look nice, doesn't it? I love how that looks, but there's not enough room. Now, if I were to pull the heliconia and the caladium out, there would be room, but we're late enough into the season that I don't think I want to do all that. Right? I mean, this is too much. Drive me crazy. One thing I do like about coleus, you don't have to have your pruners to go at them. Just snap. Just snap at them. Oh, okay, that already is so much better. It's just too much. I don't mind having some of the height over here in the background, but right here, no. Gosh, no, it needs to come out. It needs to come out, but I'm just going to pinch it back. We'll call that pinching. Okay, a little bit better. I can breathe with this some more. And then this piece right here. Well, you know what I could do? For one, I just take some of the stuff out from down here. I think that will help. It'll lighten things up some. Things are no longer symmetrical because I pulled the coleus out from that side and not on this side. I think maybe I just screwed these up. If I take this out all the way, I'm going to be in the same position over here with this one as I'm having with the other one. I don't think that'd be a great idea. Okay, let's just fluff that back up. Get back up in there. And you know what I can do with these begonias is maybe I'll find some pots at some point that I think would look nice just having tucked over here in front of the door like this. Yeah. Okay, that looks good too. Just gonna have to keep my eyes peeled for the right container. And they're a good option for up here because they can take that dry shade, so I'm not gonna have to really tap into the drip. Just need to remember to pop out here probably, I don't know, twice a week and give them a drink. Well, I was successful at making these planters no longer symmetrical. Oops. I had to pull this one out though because it was triggering my security system constantly, so that one had to go. And this one, it was just too much. Is it bothering anybody else that I left this piece up here? It will all flush back out in no time. It's coleus. This stuff grows so fast. And I could take these, stick them down into the soil, and they would grow more coleus. I don't need that. Not necessary. This will become more bushy. It's going to allow some more airflow in there. I won't have to worry about disease and all those other things in here. I'll go ahead and leave this, though, because I do like the pop of green that it adds. All right. It's been a couple of weeks. Wanted to give it time. And, well, they could look worse. Much worse. Oh, I got a fire pit. Labor Day sale. It was bent, but I was like, I don't care. It's a good deal. Had it too close to the rug, too, last night when I set it up. That was a big oopsie. Works well. It contains a fire. Looks nice. It's huge, too. I think it's 3 feet across. This thing's big. The flames last night were too big, though. This thing was, like, way up there. So today I remembered, you know what? Maybe just use a couple of logs. Just a couple of logs is fine. Neither here nor there, but just saying, you know, hey, fun, new fire pit. I think that we're going to build a top to go over this thing. It has a screen top that's over there on top of Owen, my nephew's little tic-tac-toe spinny thing. But a top that so that we could just pull it over here and use it as a coffee table and not have to scoot the coffee table because the coffee table's over there now. It's further away than it looks. There's a good 6 feet there. That's not true. Probably 4.5 feet. It's fine. Everything's fine. I'm not leaving it unattended. But yeah, I don't want 2 of these out here. I think that just takes up too much space. So that'd be easy to do. Just, you know, cut something out, fits on top, and then boom, coffee table. And when you want to have a fire, you just, you know, scoot it out and take the top off and boom, you have a fire. Anyways, yeah, here's how they look after a couple of, you know, hold on, while I'm here, let's just go ahead and just scoot that down. It's not even warm, but still, you know, stuff can fly up and land on it. Start a fire, don't want to do that. So they don't look fantastic, but this one up top has started to flower again, which is surprising. Lost some of the lower growth, and this one right here, you can see there's some stuff that I'll probably need to cut off of it. This one over here, kind of the same thing, but as of a couple days ago, they've started to hold their leaves up. Whether I make sure to water them or not, they're keeping upright. I still think I'm going to go through and with these front 2, give them a heavy cutback so they'll, well, I'll show you. I cut back the other ones. So here are the others. These were the ones that didn't have anywhere near as much root on them, so I went ahead and just cut them back. I think I could actually take this one down some more, but I need my bigger pruners. My hand cutters weren't cutting through some of that stuff. The rosewood can be really hard. I've forgotten about that, but these right here, they'll be fine. Roses, they take to transplanting very well. We don't have any ridiculously warm temperatures in the forecast. Actually, it's supposed to be rather cool coming up here, but, you know, 70s, low 80s, that should be the gist of things for the next, I don't know, 6 weeks probably. Probably some days in the mid to upper 60s towards the end of that, and then, you know, fall and all those things. But a good 6 weeks, so I think that should be plenty of time for them to go ahead and start the process of putting their roots down anyways. Oh, I did some pruning in here. The Bikini Teeny Colocasia, I had left this big one. I just let it grow in the front because there was a garden tour, and I didn't really want to do much pruning or anything before the garden tour. I wanted to just show what things looked like, but it was bugging me having this huge plant. These got huge this year. Absolute beasts. They are so freaking big. What's going on in here? Yeah, I don't know. They've been getting spider mites. Last couple years, moving later into the season, they start to get mighty. So I've just been cutting the ones off that have the spider mites on them and tossing them into the bin. Because I'm not wanting to spray things. But anyways, yeah. That opened things up over here, and it looks very nice. Doesn't it look so nice? Everything looks so beautiful and so tropical and lovely. that's that. Garden's looking good. I think that I will go ahead and just leave these roses as is for right now, like I said, except for these two. I'll cut those back. The begonias on the front porch, well, you know, I think it just is what it is. Those are not going to fit in those containers, and they look pretty as it is. There's only a few weeks left, several weeks, but not a ton of time left in the growing season, so I'm just kind of like, that's fine. I will probably, once I figure out what's going on over here, I'm doing a lot of repots with smaller plants and bigger plants. Once I get that all sorted out, I'll go ahead and start popping begonias into some of these other containers. I think that would look a lot nicer than just having them sitting in those pots on the front porch. Yeah, I'm in the midst of filming different videos. That's why things are pretty chaotic and messy over here. I got the tripods and whatnots out, but yeah, it's just part of it, you know, getting stuff done. All right, hey, thanks for hanging out. It was fun. I love the front yard. It's looking so good. Should we end things out there? Well, the roses aren't blooming right now. There's really nothing to see. It looked better when you saw it than it does now 2 weeks later, because that flush of flowers they had on them is done. They're just going to reset, and they'll do it again. That's what roses do. The cooler temperatures doesn't usually stop them from flowering, so hopefully got a nice show out of those. I didn't have to do much to, I don't think I had to do any roughing to the root balls on any of those roses, so they should adjust to being in the ground really well, I would think. Where is it? Sounds like a cute little plane. Where are you? Oh, and the next thing I get to handle is this hydrangea over here that I've just been like, why are you so thirsty? You're in a self-watering container. And then I stuck my finger in the soil today and it is sopping wet. I drilled the emergency hole on the side, and so see, the water comes out of it, but it's just somehow too wet, even though I've let a lot of the water out of the bottom. I don't know. That can happen sometimes. You know, you put something in a self-watering container, but if it doesn't root out into that container, then you just have soggy soil. Those roots have to, you know, move through that moisture. They have to pull the moisture up, that is. All right, hey, thanks for hanging out. Hope everybody's doing well. Have a great day, a great night, and everything's just going absolutely beautifully for you. Have you planted the drift roses? Or, yeah, that's what they're, I want to say carpet roses. The drift roses. Let me know. They come in lots of different colors, and I don't know. I think the one I got probably fits better with the junipers, but there are some that are much more vibrant that I was tempted to go with, but I just don't think it would have looked right in the front yard. Okay, don't go off on another tangent. Hey, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye.